Our breath shall intermix, our bosoms bound, and our veins beat together, and our lips, with other eloquence than words, eclipse the soul that burns between them. As mountain springs under the morning sun, we shall become the same. We shall be one spirit within two frames, one hope within two wills, one will beneath two overshadowing minds, one life, one death, one heaven, one hell, one immortality, and one annihilation. This memorable passage was written by the English Romantic poet Percy Bysshe Shelley. It is an expression of the highest degree of love, of the poet's desire for the kiss, to dissolve into one with his lover. The kiss to carry them to one same life and to one same death. Throughout the course of history, artists and writers have bestowed the grace of their creative powers upon the kiss, giving it a variety of emotions, meanings, and contexts. Far back in time, Babylonian creation stories contain several kisses in greeting and supplication. Instances of romantic kissing have been unearthed in ancient Sumerian poetry. In a Babylonian hymn, devotees are invited to join in the praise of Ištar, the queen of heaven and of the gods. With pleasure and love, she is laden with vitality, charm, and voluptuousness. In lips, she is sweet. Life is in her mouth. Another early reference to kissing comes from the Vedas, a large body of texts originating in the ancient Indian subcontinent. The Kama Sutra devotes an entire chapter lavishly describing ways of kissing, which enables the lovers to transcend dualism in the intermingling of their breaths. This is beautifully expressed in the blissful calm of the kissing couples blossoming on the surface of the Khajuraho group of temples in Madhya Pradesh, India. The kiss was also traditional with the ancient Greeks. In Homer's The Iliad, Priam kisses the hand of Achilles to plead for the return of Hector's body, his son, who had been killed by Achilles. The Romans enjoyed a strong and vibrant kissing culture. The kiss fulfilled a social, political, and legal role, and it was celebrated in literature by poets such as Catullus and Ovid. The Romans helped to spread the habit to most of Europe and North Africa, and many Roman kissing traditions have lasted until today. Early Christians often greeted each other with the kiss of peace, symbolic of the transfer of spirit to signify a wish that peace be upon the recipient. In Giotto's painting, The Kiss at the Golden Gate, The figures of Anne and Joachim are seen to fuse into one as they come together in a kiss. There is no lack of correspondence between their lips and their hearts. But what sweetness can there be if there is no faith and no affection? What untold bliss can there be if the emblem of peace and love changes into a sign of betrayal? One such dark moment is the kiss of Judas. In The Taking of the Christ, Michelangelo da Caravaggio approaches the narrative with his extraordinary sense of the theatrical. Manic gestures and expressions are captured as the kiss of Judas identifies Jesus, who is seized by the guards. The tension and violence are made more palpable by the stark contrast between the light and the darkness. The light which breaks the dark abyss. The faith that humanity will no longer suffer hopelessly under the ravages of a chaotic universe. The moral fall and the salvation of the soul are addressed in the classical Greek tale of Cupid and Psyche. Venus was terribly jealous of Psyche, who was a very beautiful princess. She instructs her son, Cupid, to make Psyche fall in love with a hideous monster. But instead, Cupid falls in love with Psyche himself. He becomes her unseen husband, visiting her only at night, commanding her not to attempt to look at him. She disobeys his orders, and in doing so, she loses him. Pregnant with his child, she undertakes a series of cruel tasks set by Venus in the hope of winning him back. On her last trial, Venus demands that she take a box and go into the underworld so as to obtain a dose of the beauty of Persephone. As she re-enters the light of day, she is overcome by curiosity and opens the box. What she finds inside sends her into a deep and infernal sleep. Cupid can no longer bear to witness her suffering and to be apart from her. He finds Psyche and draws the sleep from her face by reviving her with a kiss. Psyche reaches up towards Cupid. He holds her by supporting her head and breasts. The world around them goes quiet. In the eternity of their kiss, we let soul and beauty speak to us the divine mysteries of love. Jupiter's consent that Cupid and Psyche be together was a wish granted not without return. He would solicit Cupid's future help whenever a choice maiden would catch his eye. Jupiter was very unfaithful to Juno and would take on various disguises in order to cover for his many escapades. This time, Jupiter falls in love with Io, a beautiful priestess of his wife Juno. To hide himself from Juno, he changes into a dark cloud and comes to Io in this shape to possess her. She pulls his smoky hand towards her as he kisses her, his face barely visible above hers. The contrast between the evanescent figure of Jupiter and the voluptuous body of Io is made evident. She is lost in erotic rapture as he permeates the whole texture of her existence. We have seen that Venus nurtures a special relationship with her son, Cupid. In Bronzino's painting, Venus, Cupid, Folly, and Time, we are forcefully drawn to their entwined figures. The son fondles his mother's breast, kissing her parted lips. The mother's tongue insinuating her longing. Their kiss is the exultant message of desire, to which the irreparably broken succumb. Socrates would ask if we thought that kisses of love were not venomous because we perceived not the poison. The interplay between mother and son is a foreboding that erotic love is not a thing of no consequence. The painting lives up to its allegorical ideals. Venus and Cupid are placed in mysterious plot lines where multi-layered meanings foster intrigue and endless debate. Voluptuous bodies that seem to flow out and emanate the affirming quality of existence are one thing. But giving to cold stone the breath of life is something else altogether. This is what comes to pass in the story of Pygmalion and Galatea. Pygmalion was a sculptor from the island of Cyprus who became demoralized after seeing a group of hardened and unashamed prostitutes selling their bodies. This drove him to create a woman of his own in statue form, with whom he fell in love. One day, Pygmalion made offerings at Aphrodite's altar and wished for a bride who would be the living likeness of his ivory statue. On returning home, he kissed his beautiful statue and found that its lips felt warm. He kissed it again, and as he kissed it, the ivory lost its hardness, and the statue became a woman. A bawdier tale of seduction found in both Greek and Roman mythology is recounted by the Roman poet Ovid. Hercules, who was condemned by the gods for murdering his friend Iphitus in a fit of madness, was sold as a slave to the Lydian queen Omphale. In her service, he grew effeminate, wearing women's clothes and spinning yarn. However, Hercules managed to seduce Omphale, who fell in love with him for his strength and physical beauty. She soon alleviated his lot by making him her lover. François Boucher elaborates a torrid bedroom scene, which becomes, not unlike some of his other work, one of the most audaciously erotic canvases of his century. The cross-dressing element is also present in the pastoral tragicomedy The Faithful Shepherd, set in Arcadia, Greece. The nymph Amaryllis is loved by a foreign shepherd named Myrtillo. She loves him in return, but keeps her feelings secret since she must marry another man. Myrtillo disguises himself as a woman in order to gain her presence. He joins in a kissing game between Amaryllis and her maidens, and being judged the winner, is awarded a crown. At times it pays off to seek so fervently the transport of love from the lips of a woman. Such love and passion was the province of the troubadours, who rove about the land in medieval Europe, captivating audiences with their ballads, poems, and stories. A knight falls in love with a married noblewoman. The love is expressed in acts of bravery and self-sacrifice, and in most cases not consummated. An experience between erotic desire and spiritual attainment, at once illicit and morally elevating, human and transcendent. The dramatic story of Romeo and Juliet, two star-crossed lovers. Romeo argues that kissing Juliet is like kissing a saint, which will purge him of his sins. Juliet teases him by saying that his sin is now on her lips. He kisses her a second time to take back his sin. If kisses are sinful when shared between the wrong people, outside forces will do their utmost to thwart the lovers, as in the case of Paolo and Francesca da Rimini, told by Dante Alighieri in his monumental work, The Divine Comedy. The beautiful Francesca da Polenta made no attempts to restrain her affections for her husband's brother, Paolo Malatesta. Her husband, Giovanni, who was informed of their liaison, caught them together in Francesca's bedroom, kissing. Giovanni lunged at them with a sword, killing them both. Paolo and Francesca were buried in a single tomb, both descending into hell, doomed to be swept away in the air for all eternity, as they had allowed themselves in life to be swept away by their passions. In hell, Francesca recounts her tragic love story to Dante and describes how she and Paolo read the tale of Lancelot and Guinevere in the book Lancelot of the Lake. She condemns the book for bringing about the adulterous relationship and denounces the writings of courtly love. Galaho is the knight who hides Lancelot and Guinevere as these two kiss. Lancelot is exceedingly timid when it comes to declaring his feelings for Queen Guinevere. Galaho helps the couple by finding the perfect moment for the kiss to happen. It is Queen Guinevere who takes the initiative. Before any loss of nerve from Lancelot, she holds him by the chin and kisses him at length. The story of Lancelot and Guinevere impressed the medieval mind, and it is the subject of one of the most beautiful miniatures inspired by Arthurian literature. In William Blake's engraving, Paolo and Francesca kiss, truly united, within a disk of light above the poet Virgil's head. Dante lies prostrate after having fainted, moved by his pity for the lovers. Paolo, Francesca, and other sinners are taken by a whirlwind, the blast hurling them through the air in a never-ending storm. Another great work about the true love of Paolo and Francesca da Rimini is Le Bazet by the famous French sculptor Auguste Rodin. Rodin initially presented the fateful couple as a relief sculpture, part of a group decorating the monumental bronze portal, the Gates of Hell. The eternal dynamic of the theme made it an instant success. The nude bodies are easy on the eyes, gracefully composed, smooth and flowing, as the lovers go for the kiss, just before meeting their end. Contrary to Rodin's realism, Constantin Brancusi simplifies the geometry of forms, creating work which was more spontaneous, less literal, going further towards abstraction. Along with the sleeping muse, wisdom of the earth, and the endless column, the kiss marked this revolutionary break. Brancusi's sculptures have a surreptitious quality of turning themselves into objects of meditation, vehicles to reach the eternal. The kiss wishes to commit itself to permanence as its spirit breathes out of one block of stone. Brancusi merged the lovers, an act of the will to be one. They form their own physical and spiritual environment within the rock. Also entirely self-contained are this kissing couple, carved out of a single stone. Man and woman are featureless entities, buried into each other. Indistinct faces also kiss in Edvard Munch's paintings and prints. Munch built his work upon intensely evocative psychological themes. Coping with disease and death in his family, experiencing disappointment in love, suffering from deep melancholia and feeble health, we are not surprised to find his work unnervingly emotional. The Kiss is part of Munch's Frieze of Life, which depicts the stages of attraction, courtship, and realization between a man and a woman in the battle which is called love, as Munch called it. Long and pasty brushstrokes bring about the unity of the couple. Waves of energy emanate from their bodies in the darkness which surrounds them. In another painting by Munch, and also part of the Frieze of Life, a man has grafted himself onto a woman, locked in a tortured embrace, as if claiming his right to a form of dark existence in his sorrow and deprivation. The woman is kissing the man on the nape of his neck, her molten red hair running down his head. Vampire-like, she assimilates his torment. Munch called it love and pain, a man caught in a moment of total despair, unveiling painful truths about the world. There are obscure arrangements where the nature of our companion cannot be unveiled, and the secrets of the other remain inaccessible. In René Magritte's The Lovers, man and woman find each other's faces enshrouded. The barrier of fabric conceals their identity. They remain strangers to one another. The detachment is complete. No strangers to one another, but concealed from the world, are the lovers whose kisses are stolen in darkness. Secrecy and silence must rest upon these kisses, so that they have their full intoxicating power. Fragonard's The Stolen Kiss depicts a secret meeting between two lovers. A young lady who has left her company for an encounter with a passionate young man. His brief clasp, her hesitation and possible retreat imply the furtive quality of this quick and transgressive event. Speaking of transgression and conspiracy, in Il Bacio by Francesco Hayez, two lovers unfold their secrets as they linger over a kiss. A passionate and intense scene is set in the Middle Ages, the emphasis placed on the romantic force of love and independence, much like a young nation's desire for life. The painting has come to represent the spirit of the Italian Risorgimento, a political and social movement that aimed to consolidate the different states of the Italian peninsula into a single kingdom of Italy. Out of love and sacrifice, out of the thirst for being, their kiss makes a new reality come into existence. In a faraway land, a fisherman's wife gets herself enveloped in the limbs of two octopi. The Dream of the Fisherman's Wife is a woodblock print designed by one of the most famous Japanese artists, Katsushika Hokusai, who produced many other erotic images such as this kissing couple in the print, The Lovers. Eroticism was a fundamental motif of Japanese printmaking during the Edo period. One of the most highly regarded artists was Kitagawa Utamaro, who who published a 12-print illustrated book called Poems of the Pillow, where he displays scenes involving kept mistresses, embarrassed widows, Westerners having sex, and a pair of lovers in the private room of a tea house. The woman holding the man's face in a passionate grip as they kiss. Japanese prints would go on to influence Western artists, who turned to these examples for their own frank depictions of lovers and courtesans. Among these artists was Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, known for depicting the Paris lifestyle during the late 1800s. The fluency, economy, and power of his line would illustrate the sometimes decadent affairs of the time in a series of elegant and provocative images. Lautrec was a regular in many bars, cabarets, and brothels, and it is the latter in which the kiss in bed takes place. Two women are caught up in a passionate moment, completely devoted to one another. They embrace as if fearful of being separated, their hands grip tightly. They wish the moment to last forever. Kissing was not always an indication of erotic yearning. The kiss is also expressive of the deep affection that binds parents to children. The mother's warm kiss is the good angel that shields the child from all evil. A lifelong attachment that nothing and no one can break. The kiss to seal the unbreakable bond. The soul-mingled communion as the wellspring of all that is good. Gustav Klimt's The Kiss is suffused with love and sexuality, opening countless dimensions in its capture of both strong and delicate emotions. The vigorous passion of the male, the woman's expression of sublime pleasure. The couple's intimate embrace and life-affirming union becomes religiously iconic. In the ecstasy of their love, they surrender themselves to immortality. Another exalted moment of happiness is portrayed by Marc Chagall in The Birthday, a painting about the nimble potency given by high-spirited love. As a surprise, Marc's wife, Bella, had prepared a bouquet and had placed a cake on the table. Marc is swept off his feet in delight. Himself without any arms, kisses Bella with his whole body. We find this light-hearted warmth in another work by Marc Chagall, the memorable moment of Daphnis and Chloe's first kiss. In the colorful idyll, the two figures seem to float in an atmosphere of infinite happiness. Chloe has bestowed a kiss upon Daphnis as a reward, a young maiden's kiss with the power to sting the young man's heart and drive him mad. The theme of the couple is also present in Picasso's work. and shows how much importance love and sex had for the artist. What transpires in Picasso is the extreme physicality of his powerful visions. To bring the couple together, Picasso does not hesitate to deform their faces in a grotesque, libidinous coalescence. In this more liberated and playful experiment, fluid and unpredictable lines delineate a fierce battle of tongues. Here, the heads of the couple are joined, their bodies fused together. The energy emanating from them are the rich and colorful vibrations of the inner workings of their passion. That same passion, that same desire to keep love eternally young before the yielding rush of helplessness to death's embrace. Celebrating the victory of our own annihilation, the kiss of death marks the end of the experience of this tragic art called human life. A boat has capsized in this great drama of the sea, and clinging to the wreck, a father holds his young son, who has drowned. The moment comes when he can no longer hold him, and before delivering him to the open tomb of the sea, he kisses him goodbye. The soul detained but for a brief while, hoping to be carried away to a more blissful realm. The great Roman poet Ovid, in his Tristia, laments over his joyless existence in Thomas, where Rome had banished him. He despairs because when the hour of death approaches, he will not have his beloved wife by his side to detain his fleeting spirit with her kisses mingled with tears. When Don Juan wandered one evening along the shore with his beloved Haidee, they glanced at the moonlit sea outspread before them, and they listened to the lapping of the waves and the whispering murmur of the breeze. They saw each other's dark eyes darting light into each other, and, beholding this, their lips drew near and clung into a kiss. A long, long kiss. A kiss of youth and love and beauty, all concentrating like rays into one focus, kindled from above.